Welcome to the Cannabis Friends and 420 Buds Show. How are you doing today, Megan?
I'm doing great, and I'm looking forward to today's topic, which is how to battle anxiety and how to battle it naturally. And I just have to say, this topic is with perfect timing. I mean, humanity is going through it right now. We could all use this information. A lot of my friends and family have gone through anxiety. I myself have gone through it, so much so that I've had panic attacks because of the anxiety building up and me not knowing what to do with it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And definitely there are millions of people in the United States just alone that suffer from what I call persistent anxiety, or what the medical establishment calls anxiety disorder. So the good news is, for those that suffer from anxiety, is that it can be overcome, and it's a fairly simple process as long as you are patient, persistent, and consistent with your efforts. And I've personally seen hundreds of people overcome anxiety and get off their meds if they were taking them, and enjoy their life again, with the process that we're about to discuss in this episode. I literally call it getting up off the sidelines and back into the game of life.
I love that, Al. And my goal for the topic today is what solid steps that we can take aside from meditating, grounding, which I'm very much into, but it feels like there's a missing link there. Like there's a physical action that we should be taking. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. What we're going to go over today, that is the missing link, and doing the meditation and all the other stuff that they say to do for anxiety and stress, depression, etc. It could all be for naught if you don't have this missing link added in. So let's get into it.
Let's do it. All right, Al. First question. What is anxiety?
Okay, awesome. So let me pull up this slide that I made. And I'll make it a little bigger over here. All right. So anxiety, it's a feeling. This is a definition from WebMD. Basically, anxiety is a feeling of fear, dread, and uneasiness. It might cause you to sweat, feel restless and tense, and have a rapid heartbeat. It can be a normal reaction to stress. For example, you might feel anxious when faced with a difficult problem at work, before taking a test, or before making an important decision. So it can help you cope. And in most instances, this allows you to focus and take care of the tasks at hand. So anxiety, like in small bits, can be sort of, beneficial, and make you just more alert and more aware of things. But on the other side of that, some develop anxiety that does not go away and can get worse over time. And the symptoms can interfere with daily activities such as job performance, schoolwork, and relationships, as well as deteriorate your physical and mental health. And that's known as an anxiety disorder, which is actually just a label that they put on you so they could just prescribe medication to you, right?
Gotcha. What are the symptoms of anxiety?
Okay, so basically, the most common ones are like anxious thoughts, being nervous, racing mind, feeling restless and tense, and really not having any reason for it. Rapid or pounding heartbeat, shortness of breath. These are the physical signs, right? Feeling dizzy, unexplained aches and pains, and that's a general anxiety. When it's persistent, it could become these kinds of things, that pounding, heartbeat, that shortness of breath, the dizziness. And when that happens, and it's persistent for like 6 months or longer, that's when it becomes that anxiety disorder. And noticeable changes start to happen in people's lives. They become recluse. They stop participating in life, basically.
What about anxiety for pets? Can you touch on that a little bit?
Okay. So anxiety greatly affects humans, but it also greatly affects pets, and pet owners see that all the time, right? Especially for things as simple as car rides, or running the vacuum, or different times of the year, such as 4th of July and New Year's. And CBD and full extract cannabis oil, the high CBD version, greatly helps with that. It can help them to just be more enjoyable, and help the pet itself to enjoy life and not just be scared, especially the smaller ones, but the large animals too. And it also helps them not get as anxious after things like surgery as well. It sort of helps them to heal better, but also that for some reason they get more in this like meditative spot where they don't move around as much. It's like an intuitive thing for them. So CBD helps pets in so many different ways. We'll actually make a video on that.
Good idea. Perfect. All right. What are the standard medical treatments used today to treat anxiety?
Okay, so the standard medical treatments, they basically have been proven not to work, but the biggest ones are like psychotherapy and medicine. Okay, those two things, and the psychotherapy, they have it broken down into a couple different areas, like this cognitive behavioral therapy and acceptance therapy. And cognitive behavioral therapy is just like almost like reprogramming you into a different way of thinking, and the acceptance thing is just like accepting what life is throwing at you, and just and being good with it, I guess.
Yeah.
And those aren't like real options to me. And the medicines that they prescribe for them, they have a bunch of different like side effects, and they lead people to uh, get prescribed more medications for to help them with sleep and energy and other things, depression and things like that, from the side effects they get from the anxiety meds. It's like a downward spiral that happens, and then none of it's good. And like I said, it's proven not to work.
Now let's dive into the Movida oils protocol and your dosing strategy.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so like I said, it's really cool. I've seen hundreds of people to overcome and manage their anxiety, and other things, stress, depression, panic attacks, because a lot of times people have more than one thing. But with the anxiety, there's three basic things that, as far as supplementation, that you take to help to overcome the situation. And the main thing, the missing link, is the CBD FECO or pure crystalline CBD. Now you can take the THC, the traditional one, but it does get you high. And a lot of people that have anxiety, they've never been high before, and just the thought of being high gets them even more anxiety.
Right.
So almost 100% of the people, they either use the pure crystalline CBD or the CBD FECO. The reason they would do the pure crystalline CBD is because the CBD FECO has the full cannabinoid profile, so it has a minute amount of THC. It's not enough to get you high or change you in any way psychoactively, but even having it in there, if it causes the person any level of stress, even like 1%, then we just have them start with the pure crystalline, because it's been proven, at least ours has, with hundreds and hundreds of people, to help them to overcome their anxiety, and to keep it off, and for the long haul. And it's really super awesome. And then over time, they, as they get better, and they're able to, deal with life better, what life throws at them, they venture into the CBD FECO. And then what oftentimes happens is that they say that, hey, it's giving them the same benefit, but they actually feel like healthier, or whatever. Or, it's hard for them to explain what's going on, but that's
Right.
basically what's going on. And because the biggest fear at that point is, like, from pure crystalline CBD to CBD FECO, just on a side note, is like the anxiety of, I'm taking this and it's working, and if I try this, it's not going to, so you kick the anxiety back in. But so they just try it a little bit, or just, one in the morning, one at night, and then slowly transfer over. And then, but like the people that start out with just the pure crystalline, about 90% of them end up with the CBD FECO, and about 10% will just stay in that one spot because it works. And it's, those are more the executives that are super busy. I don't have time to try something else. This is working, I'm going with that. So
Yeah.
so the CBD FECO, that is the missing link. That's it. Period. Like, that's why the meditation's not working. That's why the other things don't work. And all that kind of stuff. And where it can have a lot of lasting effects. Not to say that meditation in itself does not work, right?
Right.
For those people out there that do that, myself, I like to meditate myself, but as far as it having a lasting effect on anxiety, it doesn't have that. Okay, but it does have a beneficial cofactor effect when thrown in as an addition to the CBD FECO or the pure crystalline CBD. Okay, so that's what I call the Shilajit and the MSM, which are two other natural supplements that are sort of missing links in people's diet, basically, or lifestyle regimen. And they are what I call cofactor supplements to the CBD FECO, because they're synergists. They just all work better together. I call it like the trifecta or the holy trinity of supplements,
Gotcha.
And so the CBD FECO, sits at top, and the Shilajit sit and the MSM sit on either side. The Shilajit is a naturally occurring minerals, all 84 minerals, trace elements, etc. Naturally occurring, has humic acid, fulvic acid, and you could uptake 100% of the minerals because of the humic acid and fulvic acid. The tagline for it is, a destroyer of weakness and conqueror of mountains, which is what people with anxiety need, right? And that's what you become when you do this trifecta right here, and the MSM, it just helps you to take in nutrients better and get rid of toxins better on a cellular level. Literally, your cell walls are made up of MSM. If you don't have enough of it in you, then you get the cell walls get hardened, almost like putting Bondo around your cell walls because you don't have the MSM there. You don't have the original, manufacturer parts. So you put these other cheap parts in, and it makes your cell wall more hardened, so you can't get rid of toxins, and you become toxic. You can't get take in nutrients, so you're wasting a bunch of the stuff that you're trying to take in. And the MSM just makes you a better filter, so you take in more nutrients, get rid of more toxins, and just get healthier that way. And you're able to utilize more of the Shilajit, you're able to utilize more of the CBD FECO, and it is this beneficial effect that happens. I call it like an upward spiral or a beneficial domino effect, instead of that downward spiral, whatever. Does that make sense?
It does. And so basically, the CBD FECO, Shilajit, and MSM, you also offer on myfitlife.net, yes? So this is all available and accessible as the physical step that someone can take, and you have it all in one location, correct?
Yeah. And the thing about all of this stuff is it's readily available if you type it in the internet.
Right.
But the good shit is not hard. It's very, very hard to find. So and people and even people with good intentions, they don't even know what the good stuff is. They don't know what the bad stuff is. Because they haven't been around. And I've been around cannabis since '87. I've been around Shilajit since 2001. I've been around MSM since 1992. Both selling it, doing case studies on it, and taking it personally. Right. And I have like crazy just personal stories from it. It's amazing. So yeah, so the source matters, for sure. And to answer your question, we definitely do have it, and the two are super easy to take. With the CBD FECO, there is a little bit of a process, and I can go over that if you want.
Yes, please, the dosage for sure.
Okay, so typically with most
Excellent.
conditions, there's a priming, a loading, and a maintenance phase where you do like with the CBD FECO, sometimes with the MSM too, but with the CBD FECO and the pure crystalline CBD, to overcome the situation, sometimes you take a little bit more, and then to maintain the situation, once you overcome it, you'll taper down into a maintenance phase to which is a lower dosage, and that just helps you to keep the results that you've gotten and not go backwards, which was what most people do, right? Because they don't know this part of it, and that's where that's where our company comes in. We're not just the most pristine products, but we have the protocols that actually work, because we understand through our case studies and stuff like that. So the one cool thing about anxiety, and why I say it's sort of a simple process, is it's not so much of a loading, the priming and loading, because the milligram strength isn't particularly that high for the loading generally. So if that's all that you have going on, basically, so generally you're going to be doing like anywhere from 50 to 200 milligrams. You're going to work up to that, and 50 milligrams is your first day, basically. So some people, they just like, they find out right away that it works for them, and that's their jam right there. But some people, they'll have to do a little bit of a workup to overcome, and it's generally just 200 milligrams. I remember with a Rick Simpson protocol, that's 1,000 milligrams, so it's like 20% of a Rick Simpson protocol, right, basically. To overcome hardcore anxiety that you may have had your whole life and been on 4 or 5 medications for, right? And just the 200 milligrams, so that's good news. And then you do that for a period of time, and then and then once you overcome the situation, and then you go a little bit beyond that, like 30 days or so, just to make sure you're good. Then you can taper down and into a maintenance phase, which is usually about 50 to 100 milligrams per day for the person, right? And it's spread out over 2 doses, a morning and an evening dose. So that's basically it. It's super, super easy. Like So a lot. So like I said, like literally 50, 60%, maybe even more than that, will be good with a 50 to 100 milligrams. And like the people that work up to 100 milligrams, a lot of them will just stay there, and just keep it there because it's, because we have 50 milligram capsules. They just take one in the morning, one at night, and they're good, and and they don't want to like try 50 milligrams and have it come back because like why even do that? Just because taking more is just going to make you better, and if anything else is going on, it's going to help that out as well, So so they just stay there, and then the people that do have to go a little bit above that, then they'll be the ones that taper down. There is things that that I should mention, known as flare-ups, that could happen, and it could be anything from physical pain to a panic attack to an anxiety kind of flare up, which is could be different than a panic because a panic attack is more of a full blown situation, and the anxiety attacks are sort of in between that,
Right.
and they could be mild to wild themselves, and but those are known as flare ups, and like we said, like anxiety can manifest as pain, like even like with anxiety, a lot of times it'll manifest as shoulder pain, a lot of times in the right shoulder, and and people don't know why it happens, and doctors they do x-rays and all that stuff. You're not, your tendons and ligaments look fine, but you have, but I have this pain, doc, and it's this mental stuff going on, but you're not taking care of it, with the mental symptoms, so your body starts giving you physical symptoms to make you like, hey, like so there's something really going on, let's take care of this, and it's a nutritional problem. Like we said before, there's 3 basic supplements that you take to take care of it. So it's a supplemental thing. They want to say it's a chemical imbalance, right? And in a way, it is because like food is chemical. Like when you break it down, it's a chemical.
Right.
There's a bunch of different chemicals put together. That turns into this food. So at that point, but it's a nutritional imbalance. There's not a lot of money saying in saying it that way, but that's basically what it is. And those flare-ups, when they happen, the way to overcome them or to minimize them, because you can't always overcome them completely, but you can minimize them greatly, though, right? Especially panic attacks. I've seen them like go from like 1 million miles per hour that they've happened for 5 days. Like it's like not even able to move, like basically to where like my mom is just going through this thing. I'm so worried about it, and like literally in front of mine and other people's eyes, just here, just take this, and literally like within minutes, like 5 minutes, like gone, and like, okay, give me that, all that kind of stuff. So it's super awesome, but you just take either a half a dose, and a dose meaning your morning or your evening. So if you're doing 50 milligrams in the morning, 50 milligrams in the evening, you'd either do a half a dose or a full dose of that. If you're doing 100 milligrams in the morning, 100 milligrams in the evening, and that's what your body's used to, so you do a half a dose or a full dose of that, right? So it's not a certain number of milligrams, it's the morning and evening dose that you're taking, either half or a full dose of that. So we call that a micro dose or a macro dose for the flare up, okay? And so if a flare up happens, then you do that. And when you have anxiety, you sort of know I sort of feel something coming on, and you sort of feel like almost like a migraine kind of thing for people that have those. You can sort of tell, like, oh, I'm going to be taken out for the day, or I'm going to have something, but I think I might be able to deal with this one. You still sort of never know, but you sort of could tell if it's going to be full blown or if it's going to be just I could get through this one. So at that point, you just either take if it's something that's going to be like, oh, it's going to be okay, but I'm gonna go through it today, then just do a half of one. But if it's going to be a full blown panic attack or something, then do the full dose. There's nothing wrong with doing the full dose. And if you have like several during the day, like 2 or 3 different ones, like you're always like if you have a job that's just super stressful or whatever, and you're on the phone with all these different people, and like a bill collector would be a good example, then you could do, if you have several flare-ups, then do several, little micro doses throughout the day. There's nothing wrong with it. And as you start to get better and overcome the situation, then the number of flare-ups that happen throughout the day will become less and less. So you're not doing as many because you're only doing those extra doses during the day when they appear, not as a preventative measure, right? The morning and evening dose is the thing to overcome, and then the preventative measure once you have overcome. So a flare-up might happen. They might stop happening, right? And eventually they will. And then, for most people, you can't guarantee anything, right? But for most people, and then once they stop happening, every once in a while you will have one. Life isn't perfect. and there are certain triggers that like, my, like that mother-in-law or whatever it is, and on Thanksgiving, like, man, like every single time, but and at that point, then
Yeah.
then you might have to do, at that, and it's okay, but then at that point they're happening once a year, once a month, whatever, instead of like 5 times a day, and for those people where that happens to you, that what I'm talking about, and happening once a month or once every, a couple times a year or something would be a godsend compared to every day, and does that make sense?
It does make sense. I did want to ask. So here, this is answering my question on the physical missing link. It would be to just be present on your morning and evening protocol of taking CBD, and then on top of that, you have the MSM option, you have the Shilajit, you have those that would also be, I guess, at the same times as you would take the CBD morning and night, or would it be?
Yeah.
What's the protocol? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so then you add those physical steps, then mix in, let's say you do have that mother-in-law that you're dealing with for the holidays or whatnot. You can mentally prepare, you can ground, you can meditate, you can take your CBD, you can be fully armored, and then go into it with the confidence that you need to handle the situation.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. All right, well,
Yeah.
I have a question for you on this. What if you have more than one condition? Like you have anxiety, you have that leads to panic attacks, but then you have pain or you can't sleep. Like, what about that?
Yeah, for sure, and that's super common, especially in today's world, and and especially for people that have hardcore conditions, because like if you didn't have anxiety before, get a hardcore condition like cancer, or start going blind from glaucoma or something like that, or get or have tremors where we're like you have to like hide yourself and whatever, like if you didn't have anxiety before, that those things will give you anxiety and stress and depression, right? So it's very, very common thing to have. And like with medication, that's where the labels come in, because they could give a specific medication for each label, and that's why people have like half a dozen or more different medications that they're taking, and they just get stacked on top of each other as you get older. Like with this, there's that trifecta, maybe adenine, some spirulina, chlorella, but that's it. Like if you have those other conditions, there's nothing really extra that you could add in. There's things that you can if you want to, but you don't have to, and it's not necessary. And we've seen people that test that trifecta with all the different things, including cancer, glaucoma, and chronic pain, etc. So that being said, to long-winded way of answering your question, but you take the amount that is necessary, or not necessary, but recommended, for the situation that is the most severe. Okay. So like we just mentioned, anxiety is the lower of the milligram strengths to overcome. So like if you have chronic pain, that could be 400 to 600 milligrams on average that it takes to overcome that. So if you have anxiety and chronic pain, then you would do the 400 to 600 milligrams at least, right? And you might most people will get do awesome just with that. There are a certain amount of people that might need a little bit more to do with the two, but about probably 80% would do good with just the chronic pain version. And then if you have like cancer, that could be anywhere from 600 to 1,000 milligrams a day. So if you're doing 600 or 800 or 1,000 milligrams, that's going to automatically overcome the anxiety and all that kind of stuff. So it automatically will help the ones below it.
Okay. So
that's
dose
why,
per your condition.
Yeah. So then that's why I was able to figure out just all the different things that help with me. Because I didn't take mine to overcome the migraines and overcome the chronic pain that I had from like a lifetime of being in athletics and power, and then later on in life powerlifting and on national and world level. Where I just destroyed my body. In the name of competition, and did well because of it. But I didn't really destroy my body because I didn't know how to lift and everything. But I was in great amounts of chronic pain, and I could and the back getting numb and all that kind of stuff, and I was able to overcome those situations, and and even the mental stuff like anxiety from speaking publicly and things like that. Through taking the CBD FECO and the high THC in really great quantities because of my glaucoma. So I had to take massive amounts to overcome glaucoma, and then magically all the other things that I had just one by one, just were like ticked off. Like boom, I don't have that. The knee pain gone, the shoulder pain gone, the low back getting numbed after driving for 45 minutes gone. All these different things because of that. So that was a really, really good question. Because a lot of people do have multiple conditions, and they don't even think of of overcoming those. They don't even, like I don't care about like that other thing, like my ankle. I'll fucking deal with that. Like anxiety, it cripples me at work. Like I'm in sales, and I can't make money. Like I can't feed my family and treat them as well as I want to. Like screw the ankle. I just want to overcome this. But it helps with it all. So you don't have to be sidelined. You don't have to, and you don't have to put up with stuff either. In other words, you could have a fruitful life.
I love that. When talking about case studies, is there one that really is relevant to today's topic that you have to offer?
Yeah, for sure. There's a really, really cool one that comes to mind, and it's this woman, Kelly, and she's from Lake Forest in Orange County, California, in South County. And she's a really, proper, I met her in her mid 40s. She's like an executive kind of a lawyer for corporate lawyer. And she was the lawyer for a supplement company that I was going to do some stuff with basically a few years back. And they did minerals, these sea minerals. And we were in this like board meeting kind of a thing with all their people. And I brought the CBD in, like I always do, because I want to make everybody a true believer and put them on my stuff before I do business with anybody. I always make them take my stuff. And so I gave everybody their things, and she came up to me later on after the meeting was over and said, "Hey, I'm on this. I have anxiety, and I've been on anxiety meds since I was 5 years old. Can it help with that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." The company was still pretty young at that point, but I was like, "Yeah, I've seen it. It helps tremendously with that. That's one of the main things that I've seen it help with. With our stuff, in particular." And she was like, "Okay." But she was still sort of hesitant. Does it have any THC? And I no, this one's the pure crystalline. Because and then doesn't have anything in there. So after a couple more meetings, she came up to me and said, "Hey, I took a drop," and I was like, "Huh? Did she mean a dropper full?" And she goes, and then so I asked her, like, she goes, "No, one drop." I'm like, "Well, that's pretty good, but you might want to take a little bit more than that. Like, congratulations, good job, all that kind of stuff. But you might want to take a little bit more than that because it was a 400 milligram bottle, which is now our pet size, which is basically so it's a very low amount, in other words. So like one drop is like very minuscule, like not even a milligram. And so long story short, she started taking it more and more, and she eventually took the sufficient dose, and she was able to overcome the anxiety. And she was on 4 different medications. She was on Klonopin, was the number one medication that she wanted to come off of. So a lot of people from cancer on down, they have to work up the courage to take the FECO, because they've been brainwashed their whole lives about how bad this stuff is. Like I say, a lot of people that come to me, they've never been high on their lives, and it's a big deal. It's a big step for them, and it was a big step for her. And but the factor was Klonopin. Like that was, it was like, hey, this stuff gives me side effects, and it gave her side effects to where she needed other medications to overcome the side effects. Like to give her energy and help her sleep, and for depression or whatever. And I believe she was on 4 medications all in total, but the main one, she, like you said, was the Klonopin. And so that made her dive in, and she overcame it, and they reduced her and they weaned her off of medications, and she was able to actually get off of the Klonopin altogether. But when she talked to me and said, "Hey, I'm getting off my medication," she wasn't completely off it at that point. But I asked her, "Hey, can you give me a testimonial?" Because just giving me this like half-hour testimonial on the phone, right? So can you give me a little written testimony, saying, "Hey, this stuff is cool," and blah blah blah. Kelly M from Lake Forest or whatever, and she was like, no, I'm a lawyer. I can't be giving testimonials, even though it's a written testimonial and it only has her first name and last initial. Like who the hell is going to know who it is? That was the anxiety kicking in, right? And so I was like, okay, cool, that's no problem. Just keep on doing what you're doing. You're doing awesome. Good job. And so months later, there was a medical supply store in her city that was having me do a talk there. for their customers and stuff to introduce the CBD and all and CBD FECO and everything to their clients. So I invited her. I said, hey, there's this thing going on, and just down the street from where you live, it'd be cool to see you in person again, because I haven't seen you in a while. So she'll let me see if I can go. So I'm there, and I had helped the owner's wife, and I'm overcome some stuff previously. So I'm talking to the owner's wife, before the thing starts, before the event, and I hear this woman talking to the owner because it was like, I have glaucoma, so my peripheral vision isn't as good as it could be, And so I'm talking to the owner's wife, about her success, with her stuff because she's a fitness competitor. And I heard this woman saying, yeah, because the owner, he's a good owner and worker, and he's like, hey, tells this lady, have you heard about CBD? And she goes, well, yes, I have. And I take it, and I take this one. And let me tell you, it helped me to overcome my anxiety, and it helped me to come up with these medications and blah, blah, blah. So I turned to see who it is, and it's Kelly, right? and it's like, she's talking to a stranger about her stuff. And like this is crazy, right? And I'm like, hey, Kelly, blah, blah, blah. So I'm flabbergasted at that, right? And it's like, okay, this is cool. But so we do the presentation, and there's about 50 people there, and people with the cameras, they're filming, and the people with their phone cameras out, and people, it was great. We're doing having fun, and we get to this one part where we did a case study, and then Kelly gets up and she stops me just before I start the presentation back up, and says, "Hey, I wanted to just let you guys know what's going on with me. But before we get started, I am a lawyer, and for anybody that's recording, I do not consent." And then she went into her story about all the success she had, and she's doing in this in front of 50 people that she's never met before.
Nice.
And I was like, whoa, she doesn't even realize what she's doing right now.
Right.
But that's the power of it, because like you step into a new reality basically, and you become like who you were meant to be. Right. It's super, super awesome. But that's just a great example, because she was so bad that she was literally shut in for 2 years. She was like, I did just seeing people, like she would get into like panic attack to where she she would have to sit in the car and not drive anywhere, to where it wasn't even worth going out for her. Right. That's why, and that's why I say like it's like she was ready, like they say with the alcoholics hitting rock bottom or whatever, like they weren't ready yet. Now they are. Like she was ready at that point. Like she was like, I'm not crazy. I'm a college educated. I'm a corporate attorney. I'm a sane person, but I just can't, like, there's something that I know is not right inside me, that won't let me participate in life, basically, and right. and that was her missing link, that at first it was a CBD FECO, and then or the pure crystalline CBD, and then she did the CBD FECO, and then she's like, hey, this MSM thing, like maybe, yeah, and then and then the different stuff that you become more receptive to things when you understand how the body works, and then you actually feel like not just hearing about it, or maybe I think I'm getting, but like actually like in her case, literally getting up off the sidelines, like being able to leave the house instead of having your groceries and everything else delivered, and right. And talking in front of 50 people when you wouldn't even fucking write a written testimonial before. Like that's life changing. Like her life is nothing similar to what it was before today. And I just talked to her like 2 months ago, and she's like, and this, because she's been off the Klonopin for 3 years, and she's like, still off the Klonopin. She goes, screw that shit,
How long was she on? How long was she on Movita before she actually, like, what was the duration of time before she actually was correctly taking it and then standing up in front of 50 people to share her story? What was the time frame?
Well, first off, I forgot to mention this. She was on anxiety meds since the age of 5 years old, all the way up to her mid 40s. She'd never been off medication a day of her life, because she is so much of a strict, like she's a lawyer, she does things, by the way, but the way it's supposed to be. She has like a little regimen. Like I never go off of this thing. So to answer your question, it took, I would say, about a year to a year and a half.
Okay.
Like
being diligent and on it, and yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like she was after when she started doing like a little bit more. I took her a couple months to do like a decent dose, right. and she was like, I feel it, I'm feeling, and then you know, because she was like, she was shut in for 2 years. Remember that, and the reason she was working for the company she was working for is because of they let her work remotely, and that was back in 2016. When remote work wasn't as popular as it is now. So so her, and then she got better and better and better. But yeah, but also that event wasn't until then either. So she didn't have the opportunity for that. As well.
And she was coming off of Klonopin and all the medicine. So it was a duration of wins all the way up until her standing in front of people to talk.
Yeah, and another thing to note too is like, so she is one of those people that goes by the book, so she listened to her doctor, and she showed her doctor what she was taking and told her how she was feeling, and she was doing tests, and whatever, like whether they're a psychological test or whatever kind of test, and the doctor weaned her off of it. It wasn't her weaning herself off of it or me telling her wean yourself off of it. I never tell people to come off of it because that's not my place for that. So when I say they're off their medications, it's doctor approved and doctor recommended. Like, you don't need this stuff anymore. Whatever you're doing, just keep on doing that because you are better. And we don't see that with our other patients.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Al, before we wrap up, if anyone watching has an RSO success story and you want to share it on camera with us, please contact us in the show notes below. And if you have a question for Al and you want it answered, please comment below, contact us, let us know so that we can get those questions answered. That's all on my end. Is there anything else?
No, it's yeah. Just to reiterate what Megan said about the people coming on, we really would like to get people to come on the Cannabis Friends show and share their experience, so it could motivate other people, because big pharma and the AMA, they have a stranglehold on the world, and literally, and we need to do something about that. And this show and the channel and myself have been shadow banned for years, and the only way to get this stuff out, this information out, is by you guys, the community, through your diligence, by sharing and liking and subscribing. That's basically the only way. So and we do appreciate it, and thank you for doing that. So that concludes this episode of Cannabis Friends and 420 Buds. Be sure to leave any questions or comments below and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy this type of content. Reach out to support at myfitlife.net or schedule a complimentary call if you have questions about RSO or FECO, how to take it, or where to get it. This is Al Morentin.
I'm Meghan Hall.
And we are the hosts of Cannabis Friends and 420 Buds. I hope you have a beautiful day. Peace.